Like there's a trick I have to practice.
I don't think so. I think you can do it in Speak of You. I was with Anurag about before this meeting, and that's exactly what he did. He had his slideshow and he had his himself on the show. So
when you're
Gina,
sharing with Anil, who you were just talking about, or no?
What's that?
Who were you doing it with before this?
Anurag Best. Anurag,
okay.
Yeah, a friend of mine. And
okay, good. Well, I have a scheduled call with my daughter and my husband to practice tonight.
There you go.
Put everybody in different rooms, and then I can just make sure I know what the hell I'm doing. Because I can do it on Zoom with my eyes closed, but I can't do it on Google.
I think Zoom is better than Google Hangout.
Yeah.
I think they've changed it to Google Meet, right?
It is Google Meet, so that's the other piece of it too, right? So, yeah. So I just got to play with it all. That's all. It's just practice.
Actually,
but yeah, the camera's a really great idea because I could. And then, is there a way to toggle between the laptop camera and the external camera?
I would just stick to one.
Okay.
But there
you
is.
can present from your laptop camera.
Yeah.
Not laptop camera. You can present from your laptop.
Yeah.
And have the camera looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, and then I can take the camera with me if I need to step away. That's the thing, right? Because it's vocally, that's the issue. Is it when I step away to demonstrate, then I'm suddenly having to yell, you know?
No, actually, that's not it. I was thinking the reason why I brought this whole camera. Sorry, guys, we are into a 8 minute.
Pankaj and Anil, Balaji, it's all about me right now.
It is innovation. It is innovation.
It is innovation.
Yeah, this is part of innovation. So that's
part
good.
of innovation. I was thinking of the whole setup being much wider.
Yeah.
Right. It's not. You can zoom. You don't need to then zoom in and zoom out. You could just see yourself in the whole context, right?
Yeah.
And do what you want, move around and stuff, and it's seeing the whole thing there.
Yeah.
So
Say hi to my daughter.
We are saying hello to your daughter.
Namaskar. She's a Bengali.
Yep, she's Bengali, right? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like what?
Yeah,
I don't remember when I was there.
In Zoom and I think also in Google, there are options to change your input. Your audio input as well as your camera input. So by simple, one click, you can switch to a wider angle or you can switch to a different camera. And by the way, on cameras, one other note, depending upon what your budget is, there are also Wi-Fi cameras now. Yeah. So you could literally have like 3 of them around your studio and just change angles on your phone or on your laptop and just go to different angles. So there's a lot you can do with these now.
It's so interesting because I've been teaching these lunch and learns for corporations in person for a couple months now. Mm-hmm. But teaching it virtually is a whole different ballgame because you're managing your own vocal intonation and speaking, and then your PowerPoint, and then when you're demonstrating exercises, there's that element of it. And then you're trying to watch. So again, being on Google Hangouts is going to be entirely different for me because I'm trying to watch. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Hey, sorry, producers. My producer has already listened. We are already 10 minutes into this. I apologize. It's ideation. So hey, listen. This is going to be one of those days where we are going to ideate a lot and talk through a lot. So sorry about that. I did not mean it. It is live on Facebook now. Anil is our executive director. This is Innovation Tuesdays. We are going to have Zina for 5 minutes, and then we are going to have open mic just to talk through ideation. I love the idea of Balaji and Pankaj being online, but first of all, let us give it up to Mr. Anil Ramaneni, to our executive director and my friend, to give us a state of TiE and the agenda coming up about tomorrow's meeting also, and a whole bunch more.
Hey guys.
It's all yours.
Hello. We are into 10 minutes into the meeting. So
sorry about that.
Exciting. Everybody is already talking about innovation stuff. Good. Nice. I like that enthusiasm. Right. So we have a webinar coming up tomorrow, which is moderated by Ravi, and the speaker is actually Neeraj Bhavani, who's our ex-president, TiE SoCal president. And he's going to talk about his startup MedTech, how they went through their journey about entrepreneurs and corporate working with VCs and strategic investors. That's one thing. Another one coming up May 20th, we're having a second virtual pitching event, and still lots of startups are applying. And if you know any startup, would like to apply it at TiESocalAngels.com. Anshuman couldn't make it today, and that's about it from our side. Go ahead, Ravi.
Hey, that's fantastic, Anil. And tomorrow's event is going to be a lot of fun, right, Anil? We're looking forward to Neeraj. The title is Entrepreneurship and Company Building with VCs and Strategic Corporate Investors. So I come from, I call, I'm a growth catalyst, right? So I like the idea of taking technologies like a platform like Vertical Line and see how it can scale and stuff like that, right? So I like the idea of growth, and growth has one of the avenues for growth is strategic partnerships. And Neeraj and I have worked closely on this one, and his company Tagnos is in the midst of this right now. It's a med tech company, and they're looking to scale. And instead of going after startup and VC and PE money and going Series A, Series B, Series C, looking for positioning it for a partnership, for an investment from a strategic, from a corporation is a much sharper way to do it. And Neeraj knows my passion for that. It's at 2:00 tomorrow, and it's going to be awesome. And we are looking forward to the startup event being moderated next week by Anil, which is going to be fantastic. Well, it's that time of the day. We are 3 minutes late, but you know what? Our bodies are all twisted out of shape and stuff like that. 8 hours at my desk. I'm looking at my computer. I'm telling Zena to invest in a nice, in a camera, and she doesn't, and she does this awesome things for us, right? She's a specialist in posture alignment. She's done so much fun stuff. So she's going to straighten us out. I call it straightening us out. Sorry, Zena. That's what, you do. So it's all yours.
Awesome. I'll be quick today since you guys took so much time with advising me on my business. All right, we're going to do a neck stretch. How does that sound?
That's cool.
I like it. Everybody stood up a little taller. I'm doing an Instagram live this Thursday at 9:30 about neck pain and how neck pain is not necessarily solved by neck stretching. Because neck pain is usually a result of a posture being out of alignment, whether it's the shoulders being forward or the hips being forward or the feet turned out. All that can actually impact neck pain. So that aside, if that's something you're interested in, you can come on Thursday and learn more about that, or join my email list. I will, yeah. And you can join my email list, because if you join my email list, then I'll email it out the next day. But today we're just going to work on stretching the neck. And this is more for symptom relief. This just helps feel better with the neck, that kind of stuff. So, Ravi, where do we sit when we're doing any kind of stretches?
On the edge of the chair.
The edge of the chair. Excellent. So
yesterday I was about to sit on the edge of the chair, and you made us stand up. So hey,
Yes, that's true. Now, next time I'll make you stand up. So when you're just stretching your neck, you want to think about bringing your head backwards, right? So because if our head is here, then we're stretching our neck that's already in a correct position. So first, take your finger on your chin and move your head backwards. Then from there, you're going to think about taking the ear to the shoulder. And then you can take that hand on the head gently to give yourself a little gentle stretch there. And then you can take the other hand behind your back, okay? So those are 3 different directions. So we'll hold this for a couple seconds. So 3 different directions. First, chin back, then ear to shoulder, then hand on the head, and then I guess it's 4 directions. Other hand behind your back. So we'll hold this for about 30 seconds. This feels incredibly good for me. It's stretching all the muscles out here. The sternocleidomastoid, the scalenes, those are the 2 major muscles here. And then from there, what you can do, you want to pretend like you're going to look into your right pocket. So I think you guys are all mimicking me. Whatever side you're leaning to, that's the pocket you're going to look into. So I'm going to look down into that pocket. I'm going to take the hand into my head, behind my head, and now push down that way. And that's going to get a different part of the neck. Okay, that's going to get more of the back of the neck.
So you're like twisting it?
You're just looking down. So you're going to look down, but you're also angled. So if you go straight from the side and look down, you'll get that angle. So in this one, obviously your chin's not pulled back, but this is so that we can get a different part of the neck. And then we'll come up and switch sides. So again, face forward again. Take that finger on the chin, push the head backwards, drop the ear to the shoulder, take the hand on the head, and then take the opposite hand behind the back. Beautiful. That looks good, you guys. So again, 30 seconds here. Balaji, don't look down yet. Look forward first. There you go. Haha. There's only 6 of us, so I can give individual cues. So get that head ear to the shoulder. And then from there, you can look down into that pocket. And then the hand can go behind the head and push down into the back of the head so you can get more in the back of the neck. So it's just 2 different muscles.
That's very interesting. So this is, one is down this way and then this way.
Correct. Yeah. So 30 seconds here, 30
One is
seconds
down
here.
this way.
So it would take you like 2 minutes to do both sides. So you would do 30 seconds here, 30 seconds here, 30 seconds here, 30 seconds here. Does that make sense?
Awesome.
Did you guys feel that in your neck?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
And that is today's neck stretch. And then
Awesome.
hop on Thursday. I'll send you my Instagram link. And you should be follow me on Instagram if you're not already.
Awesome. And I'm going to click on that
Ravi,
and you'll
may I
get
make
on
a
your
suggestion?
mailing list. So I'm looking forward to that. I think I'm already on your mailing list.
Yes, you are. Ravi is.
Let
Yeah.
me check. But here's my question to you, thinking about growth and innovation. So this is open mic day, right? This is all innovation agenda going forward for the next 30 minutes or whatever, however long we can do. We are talking about new ideas and questions and ideation. So when you were doing this one, I was just wondering, I'm a car guy. During driving, is this useful?
It's difficult to do exercises when you're driving because you're supposed to be driving. But
You may cause accident.
yes, but some things you can think about when you're driving is that when you have your hands on the steering wheel, make sure your shoulders are not up by your ears. So pull them down. You could also, while you're sitting there, think about squeezing your shoulder blades together behind you. So like oftentimes I'll tell you guys, okay, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you, right? So squeeze back. So you can have your hands on the steering wheel at 10 and 2 and still pull your shoulders behind you and accomplish that. You can also make sure that when you're sitting in your car, and of course I'm sitting on the floor here, so this is a terrible place to demonstrate, but if you're sitting in your car, that you're not sitting rounded here, that you're sitting up tall on your sit bones, and that you're supporting your lumbar spine in a neutral position. So, because we tend to get lazy in our car, and we tend to be here. Look, my shoulders are up, they're rounded, I'm rounded. So if we're sitting here. Now, that's hard to sustain if you're doing like a really long drive. So then the other tip would be to stop, get out of the car, do some of the stuff, do some arm circles, do some leg stretches, do some stuff if you're taking long drives. But while you're driving, it's more about position and maybe like isometric contractions than it would be doing any kind of exercise. The other thing too is when you have the opportunity, if you're backing your car up, instead of always relying on the backup camera, turn your head.
Yeah, you told us that right in the beginning.
Yeah.
I think you told us that in the class we had at Cerritos, and that was absolutely perfect. I really like that. Turn around and look for the back.
It's about movement, right? It's about that we've gone from being a very moving, active human body, was what we were designed to be, to literally no movement in our days because we're so technologically savvy, and that's what's creating all of our incidences of back pain. So, so it's about just constantly keeping movement on your mind.
And in this particular case, the neck stretch, what does sitting to the edge of the chair do for you?
Yeah. So when you're sitting at the back of your chair, again, you tend to go into that round back position. When you scoot to the front, you can have your knees directly in front of you. You can place your feet firmly on the floor, and then you can sit up on your sit bones. So it releases that desire for you to kind of slump and get lazy, and forces you to engage. So it's sort of like a prep. So like in Pilates, they'll say to you, all right, pull your belly to your spine. It's like that. We're preparing for the movement. So we're going to prepare for this exercise by moving to a position where we can have our feet grounded, have our knees forward, and sit on our sit bones.
Got it.
Versus round.
Incredible. Really appreciate it. I love that. Thank you so much, Zina. We are going to see you back on Friday, right? No, Thursday this time.
Correct. Thursdays, I always have another networking.
Cool,
I
cool.
cheat on you guys and go to Nabo on Thursdays.
Instagram and Google, cheating on us with Instagram and Google. Now that is, we're not going to go there. But that's
none of you guys can join the National Association of Women Business Owners. Otherwise, I would invite you. Actually, you can, but I don't know how useful it'll be for you.
See you Friday. Good luck with before we hopefully you're going to stay over, but good luck with Google and good luck with Instagram. That sounds like a lot of fun. Good. Guys, today is innovation, open mic, right? So the thought process here is just walk through any ideas and what's going on. So I actually, before I talk about innovation and ideas, we've been talking about cameras and stuff. I want to dig Balaji's brain here, actually. Where do you see, what have you seen? What have you seen when we are thinking about ideation and innovation, new things coming up and changes coming up in the COVID environment? let's start with the market. What are the changes that you're seeing so that I don't mean to put you on the spot, Balaji, but you're always on the spot. You have insights that are absolutely amazing. So help us through that. What are you seeing as changes, perhaps from a finance standpoint, from an investment standpoint, investment opportunities and stuff changing?
Okay. Uh, you mean from the practice point of view or from the investment point of view?
From an investment standpoint, let's go there first. From a
From
market and investment standpoint.
From an investment standpoint of view, I know market has been up and down, and year to date, S&P is down by 8%.
Mm.
But if you have a diversified portfolio like 60-40, what we call 60% stocks, 40% bonds, probably it is down by 5%.
Mm.
So one of the things what I am trying to do for some of my clients, if they want to invest, because I don't know when the market will fall. So one of the strategies is to do the dollar cost averaging.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody gives you, say, for example, $100,000, put maybe $25,000 now, maybe 25 after 6 months. After 2 weeks. That's one of the strategies.
Mm.
And I know some of the high yield bonds and municipal bonds, they had a wreck a month ago because of the spreads were very high. On high yield bonds, the spread was 1,000 basis points. 1,000 basis points means 10%. So when Fed injected the money, now they said we will buy any bond that is available in the country. It could be corporate bond, it could be municipal bonds, it could be so now they are all more or less stabilized. So maybe it's a good time to buy into bonds. But I didn't like the bonds 4 weeks ago, but now they are stabilized. Maybe it's a good time if you want. Some of the high tax bracket clients. Thanks to Zina. Zina, I spoke to her husband the other day. We had a good chat. Anyway, her husband is a CPS, so we had a Zoom meeting the other day.
Nice.
Anyway, so for those people, California municipal bonds, they're yielding around 3.5%. Mm-hmm. So it's equivalent to if somebody is in 50% tax bracket, federal 36 plus state another 13%, so you are nearly 50. So it's equivalent to 7% yield, and more than that, that's all tax free. Mm. So most of the high net worth people, they would like to invest in tax free money at 3.5 because that will not push them into other higher tax brackets. Mm. Otherwise, once you reach some tax brackets, it will push you, your Medicare surtax will go up and all this crap. So to prevent that, that's one of the strategies which you can adopt. And then I also have some other strategy which we are adapting is some sort of annuities. There is no fee. I think I explained to you last time, where they provide a cap on the S&P, say 11.5%. Mm. But on the downside, they also protect you up to 10% loss. Mm. So that's some of the things which you can do to mitigate your risk. Excellent. So those are the things.
And that's different. Those are the strategies, the adjustments that you've done.
I've done
this fall.
And from the market perspective also, going forward, if you see last couple of years, small cap funds and mid cap funds have beaten up badly. Mm. So it's a good time to get into small cap and mid cap funds going forward. And some of the emerging markets also got beaten up. So if you take the PE ratios, they're all very low. Mm. So maybe it's a good time to get into small and mid cap. Mm. So I'm investing some Goldman Sachs small and mid cap funds. Nice. And federated small cap funds like that. Nice. Large cap.
Are you also looking anything in medtech? I was thinking COVID means you would go medtech from an industry standpoint. You would look at medtech.
Okay, that's a good question you asked me. I like healthcare sector. I use a lot of my clients' money. One is a T. Rowe Price healthcare sector as a mutual fund, but personally, myself and a few other clients, I invested in one of the stock called TiE. Now that telemedicine is going to go up, so TiE stock has been doing well. I bought it at 175. Today, I think it's 190, whatever. Nice. It went down to 169. So TiE, something like that in a telemedicine space will be good to invest. And anything with the medical devices and pharma will be good. Nice. So T. Rowe Price has got a mutual fund. I just use them. Then on the technology side, I use Fidelity or T. Rowe Price. Uh, that's one thing. And
But those
personally,
the medical indexes have been doing really well this year, right? So they're pretty much at all-time highs right now.
correct. But the problem with the medical industry is tomorrow if the FDA says it's failed, it will drop like this. So
Yeah.
that's the reason I don't like individual companies in the medical industry
Like the space.
because it's very high risk. So that's the reason I go with mutual funds because that way your risk is diversified.
Mm.
So that's my take on medical because don't invest in individual stocks. I
Mm.
just invested in TeleDoc. That's a different story because that's a software. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with the FDA.
It's more of a tech play than a
more of a tech play in the medical sector. So that's correct. In fact, the other day I had an appointment with my doctor.
Mm.
He used TeleDoc. We just did like this.
So talking about telemedicine, and this is something, Ashish, welcome. Avi, welcome. Ashish, this is the first time for you. So Tuesdays typically are innovation and ideation Tuesdays for us. So we have an open mic format. We try to brainstorm problems and solutions so that we can build on something, right? So we are open mic kind of a format. So jump in. We are thinking about this COVID environment and seeing what issues we are facing, what problems we are facing, and therefore what solutions come out of it. Dhaval is my co-leader on this one. He also leads this up with me. So Dhaval, jump in whenever. But since Balaji was talking about telemedicine, I know we have an entrepreneur with a rich portfolio in telemedicine out here. It is our respected, honorable executive director. Sir, tell us about it. Tell us about your telemedicine product, man, and tell us what you do and tell us about your story on telemedicine on that.
Yeah, so we have this platform called esession.net. It's basically me and a couple of other founders, we came up with this solution where we didn't see a white labeling telemedicine. So that means, let's say, Pankaj has his own clinic or therapy or whatever in his Palmdale and or Lancaster. So where he could brand the e-session. Yeah, he can brand it according to his logo, his everything. So we wanted to build like a telehealth for e-session for this, for doctors or therapists, and also same e-session. Why we wanted to build that way is for education. It can be used for lawyers. It can be used. So it's like a tele, session. That's way we came up with that platform like that.
So eSession essentially enables a doctor to communicate with his patient over a video chat, essentially.
Audio video, yes.
Is that what eSession does?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Excellent.
And we have something called transcription, like the video gets recorded and then the transcription. So that way the doctors or the therapists, they have a transcript when the session started or ended. It might have some confirmation. So it helps them for billing. So, purposes. So we build that.
So the billing, meaning you document the number of hours on that e-session.
Exactly.
And you get paid at the back end, or the doctor gets paid at the back end.
And we have individual and we have organizational. Individual meaning it could be one doctor or therapist, or its organization could be up to 50 or 20, whatever, and all configured in that account management. So we can do sessions, you can see who is doing, which doctor is doing this, how many sessions that week, you can see the archives, history, and all that stuff.
And so, you did not do this for COVID, right? You were working on this before.
We did not do this for COVID. We started late 2018, actually.
Talk to us about you starting it and setting it up and some of the challenges that you faced.
Yeah, we did trial and errors. It took one of our founder is also, she's a doctorate in psychology, and she's a therapist. So we did some trail and errors issues and stuff. We still have some issues because of the funding. We didn't want to go funding route. We wanted to do bootstrap it. So we did, till now, we didn't take any money from outside, just bootstrapped and everything. Right now, we have about 30 some clinics using it. We did not market, we didn't do anything. It just after the COVID, it started off
Yeah.
word of
Yeah.
mouth or something. They're using it right now.
Nice. And you're so you say you're going after clinics. I would assume the doctors in the clinics use that.
Clinics or therapists, I have some practices, therapy practices using it, and also some doctor clinics.
What are the big concerns of doctors? What is the primary barrier you have to overcome? I realize the COVID environment, don't get me wrong, but if you were to present it, say for example, to Dr. Sai last week and had him buy into this, what are the primary barriers that you're running into, and tell me about that that you have to overcome?
I mean, one thing I'll tell you, where I'm seeing where we are getting this fixed right now, doctors don't have the patience like lawyers or anything. They don't want to spend time learning anything. They're there for their sessions are 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute, and they're done. And they don't want to anything. They want most easy to use platform, nothing to be acute there. So right now we are actually working on that platform to make it really ease of use. We got some feedback from some of the therapists and doctors. So now we are focusing in the next 6 weeks or so, working on it, making it ease of use. So it could be used for doctors and therapists.
I would assume, who are the primary players in this space?
I mean, Teledoc, like this
Right.
Balaji was saying, Teledoc it's a public, and they have been there since a long time. Recently, they also bought out some other company, Teledoc. Also, they did a M&A just recently. So, their Teledoc is the biggest one, and there are some other ones I don't remember. Dawal might add in few things. Dawal, what are the other few largest or biggest people?
Yeah, there are a couple of large players like Doxy.me is another one.
Yeah.
That are focused in this type of telehealth area. But there are a lot more small players that are popping up. And so it looks like the market is getting more and more fragmented because of basically the situation we're in right now. So the larger players probably control a very small fraction of the market. The smaller players, hundreds of little players control a much bigger portion of the market.
Is it protectable? Do you have IP?
See, the main reason why Anil focused on the telehealth aspect of it is because health has to be HIPAA compliant, and it has to be end-to-end encrypted, and it's much more challenging than just Zoom, right? Because Zoom can do that also. You and I can talk over Zoom, and that's totally fine. We don't need eSession for that. eSession can provide the encryption. Encryption, the problem is if you want to develop your own algorithms, it's extremely difficult. So generally speaking, most people use off-the-shelf solutions for encryption. And so, your IP is quite limited. There are some features that you can add that you can develop in-house. But the core system is generally, one of these off-the-shelf kind of solutions.
Right now, we are adding document management and electronic signing. We are adding those features right now. And actually, one of the couple of agencies just signed up who works with veterans. And they're going to be using this documentation management and stuff. And we're also integrating with the EMR in the near future. So that's what we're working on.
So thank you for doing all this, because that's what we are learning from, right? Innovation Tuesday is learning from each other's experiences, the barriers that you are experiencing, how do you protect your technology, The reason why we started with Balaji is where's the market going, where the market is going, how to adjust, and how to be nimble enough to talk about it. We spoke about cameras a bit before, and I'm going to come to Ashish. I know he has a Philippines company that he's managing, right? If you don't mind us talking about that, Ashish, I'd love to talk about that. Anshuman or somebody, I think you told us that you have meetings with Philippines and stuff.
Yeah.
You might. I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot,
No,
but
no, no.
I know
Ravi,
you're an entrepreneur and you've been doing this for a long time. So
yeah,
what are
Ravi.
your experiences? And
So yeah, taking from what Anil was saying, I mean, we deal with medical fields also a lot because one of the things which we do are basically back office and call center operations for lawyers, doctors, and other professionals throughout the US. We provide transcription services and back office services like document management, record review, patient scheduling, things like that. So most of our work is done from our Philippines and India offices, and most of our clients are right here. Most of them are in California, but a few scattered throughout the US as well. And what we have seen actually in last couple months is a uptick in the demand for our transcription services, because lawyers and doctors, they don't really have access to their secretaries when they are doing all these virtual meetings or calling people only on phone. No way for them to be in the office. So we have a smartphone app, and they just pull out the app, they punch in their information once, it's saved obviously on the app. They just dictate saying, hey, I met so-and-so attorney or applicant, these are the details, blah, blah, all their correspondence. Press a button, it goes to one of our transcribers somewhere in Philippines or India. We just type it up, put it on their letterhead, format it, put it back into their document management system, or email it back to them. So it's kind of a virtual secretary without really having a secretary in their office. So at a fraction of a cost of having actual secretary, they are able to get a lot of that work done. And especially becoming more important now in these post-COVID days, when they are thinking of keeping this work at home for a longer time, or cutting cost and not having secretaries at all, things like that. Same goes for call center kind of work. So we are not a typical call center in the sense that we are not really calling and bombarding with you with any offers or things like that. These are pre-scheduled calls in the workers' comp industry. So when a worker gets injured on the job, there is a whole workers' comp process of filing a claim, and then the lawyers talking, and court appearances and evaluation from qualified medical evaluators. So our clients are the lawyers, our clients are also these evaluation companies, and this is a long drawn out process. It can take somewhere from a week to even years when the actual claim is being processed and paid back to the applicant. So there is a voluminous record keeping which happens. There's sometimes tens of thousands of pages of records of the medical care of the patient. So our team takes all those records and then goes through it manually. There is really not a good OCR solution yet to figure out intelligent information from those reports. We prepare a summary of that and then prepare it for the doctor. So the doctor uses that for the evaluation. So that is another component of the process we do. And then the third component is we actually call from one of our call centers to the applicant, which is the injured patient, and talk to them about their full history of how the injury happened, what they are doing, what kind of medication they took, all the way from day one to present, and then create a history report also for them, which is also used in this evaluation process. So it's a lot of remote processes we are doing at a fraction of cost of what it would take to do from here. And with this whole remote working, it becomes really a very good solution for a lot of companies looking to cut costs. Yeah. And Philippine Center, we have 3 centers there. We work 24/7, especially because right now, like it's 4 p.m., 4:41 here. It's early morning there, but the bulk of the day is night there, just like India. Right. It's 2.5 hours difference from India.
Nice.
So the attorneys, when they dictate, they want the files back within 1 or 2 hours. So we have people working continuously, churning those out and sending it back to them. So that's the business model. And yeah, I had actually chatted with Anil a couple of times about the TeleDoc, his telemedicine solution also, because that is the requirement for a lot of our clients as well. And they are using different solutions. I mean, there are other solutions out there, as Anil said, some which are more integrated with their internal document management system or with their EMR. So I think what Anil is talking about, a couple of those enhancements would definitely help in that direction.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So tell us a little bit. Thank you. That's very informative. I did not know you were into this company. So was it an acquisition, or was this something you grew, or is this?
I just started it off a long time ago. In fact, during my MBA at Anderson at UCLA in 2004.
Oh, nice.
That's when I kind of created a business plan and just started this company.
Nice.
And it did not start as a medical transcription company. It started more as a transcription company for doing the Wall Street conference call transcripts. You know, like during this Wall Street season quarterly calls, they have like hundreds of these calls, right?
Right.
And at that time, a few companies were charging 100 to $200 a piece for each conference call transcript. So I was like, well, there should be some money in this business, and it seems very simple. Let's do it without really knowing much about it. And it's not that simple, obviously. You realize it once you get into it. But then, yeah, so that's how I started. But at that time, you know, a lot of these additional services which we are talking about were not really being offered by anybody. We kind of pivoted it a little bit from the conference call transcripts because it wasn't really very viable. Conference call, what happens is, in a quarter, you have 15 days when you have like hundreds of calls, and then rest of the time you really don't have anything. So there is a big peak, but then after that, there is really nothing to do. So we needed to have a steady business, not just a spike. And so we really never did a lot of those, and we still don't do. Now we don't do any conference call transcripts actually. Seeking Alpha, if you guys know a website, it has kind of democratized that process.
Yes.
Started providing it for free.
Right.
Whereas earlier, people used to charge for those transcripts. So they just changed that business model altogether. Right. But there are these lawyers, especially we found a good niche in the legal space where lawyers dictate huge amount of correspondence every day.
Right.
They need secretaries to do it, which can be very costly. So with our easy to use app or 800 number or just a digital recorder, you can just dictate from anywhere, anytime, and then just get your document back 24/7 without really waiting for the secretary to come into the office and type it up for you and things like that.
And what is it IP that makes it? Is it, sorry, Balaji, just one more question string, and then I'll let you jump in. Is it what protects you? Is this primarily a service industry where price is the dictator, or is there
service industry. There are 3-4 services just like us, but we are able to compete better on the price and the turnaround. And we do have, we have created our own voice cognition model based on Google Cloud, and we keep enhancing it. So we are able to, instead of typing the first draft, now we are able to get the first draft out of Google Cloud. So it takes only a few minutes and then be able to turn the documents around quickly.
Brilliant. And excellent. And then, Balaji, you had a question. Sorry.
No, Ashish, I don't know whether you explore. In our industry, something similar we use called copy talk.
Yeah.
You know them. So when I meet a client, instead of writing notes, I just copy talk. There is a live person taking that. Then she or he will input in my CRM. I use a CRM called TiE. So all the client notes are updated in the CRM. So so maybe you can extend your services to our industry also. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we do have. We do have full a few people, not only in financial industry, but even sales people who have given us access to their CRM online, and they would just dictate saying, hey, I got out of this meeting with client so and so, this is his budget, this is what we are going to do, and then we go in and input it, or we'll just put it in a pre-formatted form for them and send it back. So the service is not really restricted to anybody as such. It's what I say is, whatever you dictate, we will type it as long as it's audible. It can be legal jargon, it can be just financial stuff, or it can be, I mean, we do a bunch of transcription for university lectures, for example. So the professors wants to give it out for, you know, as notes, because some students are not able to take notes or whatever, or they want to keep a record. So they will just upload the whole recording of the class and will send it back. So yeah, it's applicable in industry, Balaji.
Do you charge monthly service fee, or how do you do that?
So our model is not monthly service fee. It's a very straightforward model of a penny per typed word. So how many number of words we type, we just multiply.
Wow, lawyers must be hating that model.
They actually love it, because our biggest...
Well, you must be loving that model, considering lawyers are your client.
No, see, the lawyers use a service called SpeakWrite, which charges actually 50% more than what we do.
Wow.
It is actually
per word.
Yeah, and at least
penny per word is actually really good price.
No, that is the way to penalize lawyers. Charge them by the word.
Because the reason I asked, Copy Talk shipping typically charges $15 or $20 a month.
Right. So we don't do that. We don't have any fixed fee. It's purely variable fee. There is no fixed expense. There is no charge for the app. You download it, you set it up. If you use it, then we will bill you. If you don't use it, there is really no billing. But there is no one size, you know, like a prefixed model where you get a minimum per month. We don't do that. SpeakWrite is our main competitor, and they are 50% more than what we charge. So they are at 1.5 cents per penny. And they are almost, I would say, 7 to 8 times bigger than what we are right now.
So Ashish, what is your product called?
It's called Scribe for You, SCRIBE for YOU. Scribe as in transcribe, Scribe for You.
Brilliant. That's, hey, Ashish, awesome, man. Thank you for introducing that to us. That's absolutely, and we're looking forward to such conversations, because we are also getting into the space, right? So, Anil, did you have any questions before I go to a person on steroids? This man is a startup. Avi is absolutely incredible.
Actually, I have a question for Ashish.
Go for it.
Ashish, in your field, due to COVID, what are the things or changes you're seeing or advantages for you, or, you know, for whatever? I would like to hear something.
Well, it is cutting both ways. I mean, we are seeing an uptick in the dictation field, where the lawyers don't have access to their secretaries anymore in the office. So they are dictating a lot more with us, and we have signed up a few new law firms who had refused us before, saying, hey, we have a lot of secretaries and we don't want to lay them off, which I understand, obviously, but now they don't have access to that. On the same token, though, some of the business on the medical side has dropped off because of all the restrictions on travel and restrictions on office visits. Especially in the workers' comp space, the medical evaluation needed to happen in office. So they have modified some rules in California to let it happen remotely, but still not very clear right now. So that volume has dropped down almost 50% on the workers' comp evaluation side. That business has actually dropped down, and they are still trying to work through that. But we do see a lot more people now adopting these telemedicine kind of situation, and hopefully that will continue in the near future. I just got a news blurb that LA is considering another 3 months of stay at home. So if that happens, then, you know, there is nothing.
There are going to be rewards.
I mean, somebody sent me a LA Times link just now, so I don't know if that is true or not, but telemedicine is the only way to go in such situations, right? For all those clinics in LA.
I heard California stay home up to July 15th.
Oh my. All right.
Really?
Man,
California.
This is going to be Yeah.
And another thing
This
is,
the most
Ashish,
chaotic. Go ahead.
in fact, many of the conferences, they're all going virtual. In fact, our even TiE Silicon Valley, our conference is going virtual.
Right.
So many are going virtual now. So
Yeah, but while those are benefits, I think not getting back. I mean, this is becoming a chaotic back to work environment. There are countries and companies that are becoming much more logical and orderly. This seems to be very chaotic, which doesn't bode to markets, right? This is a
Right.
UVW or a swoosh or a Z, you know. So you never know.
You know, actually, a lot of tech companies have already told their employees that expect to work from home for rest of 2020.
Yeah, Google said that, right? Google
Yeah,
said
exactly. Google has said that. Apple has said that. Facebook has said that. So a lot of the larger tech companies are saying, if you can, just work from home. Period. Like, you know, there's no need for you to come in. We'll just have Zoom calls every once in a while.
On CNBC, I saw a news on Twitter where Twitter CEO said you can work from home for rest of your careers.
Wow.
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
It's like forever, work from home forever.
If you can do it for the rest of 2020, meaning 6 to 9 months, then why not for the next 9 years? And if you can do it for 9 years, you can do it for 90 years. So
I think
this is the new norm now.
But manufacturing,
You know,
manufacturing is going to take
I
a big beating. I think if you're not going to, I think from an economy standpoint, if that means $1,200 a month for people per person, I think from a GDP debt standpoint, I think I'm not trying to get political about this, but I just think there has to be a way to viruses. My sister is a doctor. Viruses you need strength to fight it, right? And if you don't, I mean, this is controversial and all that stuff until you get testing. I think that the problem here is testing rather than the antivirus or whatever it is. But I think,
you know, one advantage in this, I always wanted to go to TechCrunch. Ashish, TechCrunch is in Bay Area. I always wanted to go there. It's never went for it. It's also expensive. It's not cheap ticket or whatever. Now they're doing TechCrunch live.
Yeah.
You know, I can attend the digital pass.
Yeah.
You know, for a little bit, and I thought that was exciting.
No, but it's not the same. Like I have two kids, both are high schoolers, and I've been talking to them and their friends also. And online education it's a joke, man. Right now, it just doesn't work. Maybe it may work in professional setting when you are doing some kind of tech seminar or class like that, but on a day-to-day education level, it just doesn't work, and they are so fed up, so frustrated, and I can see the disappointment in their eyes every day that the school is not open.
We lose the focus too, you know.
I have a friend of mine who was I from my standpoint, from my personal standpoint, I look at futuring and megatrends and stuff like that, right? I try to do that from a product and a solution standpoint. I look at that from a growth standpoint. So I listen to issues, and so I have a friend of mine who has a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. Okay, the 3-year-old, it's the first time they're going to school. So apparently the 3-year-old has gotten used to this computer and an interaction with his, I think, teacher online. So he's very comfortable talking with his teacher online. Okay, and he does all the writing. So apparently, get a homework, there's a piece of paper, she kind of does something, right? Whatever the game is, okay, whatever the 3-year-old does in a nursery school. And he says his 5.5, 6-year-old who just went through that phase, just learned that a couple of years back, and now is used going to class 1, friends, and being taught in an environment where you sit around 10 people and do a project. Coming back home has been a very difficult transition for the older kid. I think environments will matter, just like you have a generation that came up with cell phones compared to those before, right? What is it? The tech natives, the tech migrants. I think you're going to have this online education natives and online education migrants who are among kids who are going to experience this transition.
I think to Ashish's point, I think another thing that I would add is that for kids, once they realize the freedom they can have with digital learning, so now your professor is teaching you calculus, just as an example, but your professor is horrible at explaining the fundamentals. You can easily go to YouTube and listen to the smartest teacher on calculus and listen to their lecture and really understand the concepts much faster. Once kids sort of realize that, they figure that out, I think then you'll see that transition happen where they will really prefer this way of learning more than actually sitting in a class watching the professor on a blackboard. So I think that might, Ravi, to your point, I think that transition will take a little bit for, especially, kids who've been in school for 12 years have really developed that sort of mindset. It'll take a little bit for them to sort of learn this new mindset. But I think once we get there, they'll realize that this is way better than what they were offered before.
But we are not trying to raise robots here who know everything. I mean, school education is, I would say 20% of school education is about knowledge from the books. The rest is about developing the knowledge, developing the whole thing, which is what is the core thing which is missing. And if this happens, we will actually be creating a lot of nerds who will be good for maybe digital interaction, but our society is not about that.
Right.
The problem we are going to face. As we are talking, I'm just looking at another screen. California State Universities have already declared most in-person fall classes are canceled.
Yes.
Wow.
They just declared that 5 minutes ago on CNN.
Wow.
So
social interaction, and a lot of these, Ivy schools are facing this backlash because, the main reason why you go to Ivy schools is not necessarily for the great teachers, but it's the
environment,
that you
project work,
and the network that you develop there. So they're, Harvard and all these guys are facing this backlash. Because now the kids are saying, what's the point of going to Harvard? And in fact, a lot of, IB classes are online. The recordings are available for free online. So why do I even have to pay for a degree from Harvard when I can watch the classes for free? You're absolutely right that the social interaction piece, I think, is going to be the missing part of development. I really wonder if we can find a way to develop that outside of the school system. So how, like, little kids have play dates and things like that, where they're really interacting outside the school system. I wonder if we can have something like that for teenagers and other ages growing up, so that they can still attend school on their computer or their iPad, but still get that social interactions in different ways.
Yeah, Deval, you make a really good point. I think at the end of the day, the issue here is balance, right? I mean, we went from 0 to 60 in terms of everything suddenly being on screens and kids being home. But I'll tell you personally, I mean, the daily sludge of waking up my kid at 6:30 and getting out the door with lunch at 7:15 and getting her to school and picking her up and running around, it's a huge relief in all of us right now that she can kind of sleep in. And right now she's working on a project that she wants to make Play-Doh kits for to sell online, and she has to do the math, and so her teachers are getting really creative on how to learn in different ways, and that's all amazing. But yes, she misses that social interaction. So if there was a way to have, like, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday you're going to do online learning, and then, or maybe like half day you do online learning, and then the other half we get together and we do like business entrepreneurial projects or coding projects or something physical, because we're raising these kids that are in front of screens all day long, and that is obviously a concern. But there's got to be somewhere in the middle, where we're allowing the sort of freedom of digital learning and sort of unique ways of learning, what has provided us with the need that humans have for physical interaction and touch, and I mean, like, what about these teenagers that are exploring their romantic selves, that suddenly everything is shut down for months on end.
Yep.
And we as adults can kind of handle it, but they, they're learning and growing. So.
Right. And I think, other things that are sort of physical in nature, like sports or other physical activities, like, PT classes and things like that, those should be there should be a way to still have those, even if you don't have the school.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's sports leagues for, you know, teenagers or for, you know, age 5 through 10 or whatever it is, but having those other interactions are going to be more important. And I think people are going to try to find creative ways of adding those.
This homeschooling community kind of had that nailed down a little bit. There's a
Mhm.
lot of homeschooling communities out there that said, okay, we're going to provide this online learning program for our kids to learn this, and then they have activities during the week. And actually a lot of businesses, like, for example, Fashion Camp in Tustin, they teach sewing classes. You know, during the afternoons, they take all their kids that are in school, but in the mornings, they're taking homeschool kids.
Oh,
And
wow.
I looked at that for Zalia. I was like, okay, that'd be great. Like maybe Monday through Wednesday, she's doing her digital learning, and then Thursday she goes to Fashion Camp all day and sews, you know, which is a great creative, hands-on, physical thing, you know. So I think more of that will be happening and hopefully
Right.
become more widespread and less taboo, because homeschooling up until now has been this sort of stigma, you know, of like, oh, you're going to homeschool your kids? What about social interaction? Where they actually kind of have a lot of this already figured out, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah, I think those kinds of things just need to go more mainstream now. But
And
yeah,
I mean, one of the core attributes when you're looking for leaders is their participation in team sport.
Yep.
Right. And if you don't know, I mean, you can be a tennis star or a golf star, right? Play golf against yourself, but you know, and your human behavior is very different. I mean, when I came to America, when I was coming here for my bachelor's, first thing when I was doing a presentation, you know, in India, you don't shake hands strongly, right? You know, you and here you that's the first thing you're taught, right? It's a business handshake, right? And you know, anyway. Great. I thought this was a great conversation. I know Avi and Pankaj, we are going to come back to you next time. We are way over our thing. Thank you for holding on. But you know, you guys are brilliant in your own enterprises. I'm looking forward to learning more about it. Guys, thank you. Sorry, I did not get to you. We kind of got lost in this conversation.
Totally agree. When momentum was going on, we don't want to put our hand, you know, let the flow going.
Avi, you never put your hand, man. You're fantastic. I'm telling you, if I gave you the mic, the 30 minutes with you would be incredible, because you're doing so many freaking things, I'm telling you, which is incredible. So I'm looking forward to that.
You know, real estate is actually one of those things that are hands-on. So
absolutely, we have to. And I think this blend of, I have been hearing, what's his name? The old Uber CEO who got Travis Kalanick. He bought a $45 million house.
Yes.
Right? Without even looking into it. Without even getting in there. He did it all remotely, completely remotely with his agent. And it was worth $75 million, bought it at 45, but did the whole tour completely. And he has a whole new app that's focused on home tours and you know, all that stuff. So you know, I think that industry is going to go through another.
See what happened, Ravi. The way the industry is right now, you know what is going to come in next 1 or 2 months, 3 months. Bankruptcies are going to come, right? Corporate bankruptcies. So we are working with different attorneys to make a team where we can have a complete team of attorneys of bankruptcy. Then you need CPA, and then you need the broker also. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you cannot file a bankruptcy with the
right.
Avi, you should definitely take a look at the new bill that the House just introduced, the CARES Act 2. They're adding forbearances for 12 months. So
yeah, that is going on for.
It's going to get ridiculous very quickly here.
Wow.
No. See, that came. That has been going for the last 1 month, and it's just waiting to get passed. And even the lenders are working also. So far, hospitality business, all the SBA guys, lenders, they gave the 6 months no payment plan. So that's the reason is hospitality business is still surviving. After 6 months, we don't know what is going to happen. So that's the reason is you don't see too much listing coming on hotel side, because they're getting free mortgage right now. SBA is paying from their pocket.
Right.
Yeah. There's money.
And Avi, another thing that I really want to pick your brain about, find out how you feel. Elon Musk, I think, listed 3 of his properties for sale as FSBO. I'd love to sort of get your thoughts on that, how you feel about that. But I know Ravi's going to kick us off in 2 seconds, so maybe next time.
Yeah, next time I'll tell you, or I'll give you my opinion separately also. I know because we're running out of the time.
Yeah. Elon Musk is getting rid of all his property. He's not going to own houses anymore. That guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Let's
hear
not
this.
go Elon Musk. I'm in the automotive industry, and I'm telling you, he's gaslighting the industry, which is a completely different topic. I'm going to be on Dhaval's show tomorrow to talk about how Elon Musk is gaslighting the place.
Hey, what
So
time? What
Pankaj
time?
from New York, from
Hey,
in front of the
about
Brooklyn Bridge out there.
teleporting.
Sorry, we could not connect with you. Okay.
Hey, what time?
Balaji, were you saying something? We have to go. My producer is really, he has.
No, what time is your show tomorrow?
It is Dhaval's show. Dhaval.
We're recording tomorrow. It'll probably come out by Friday. So I'll keep
Okay.
it posted.
Got it.
But remember,
Where does
I
it
have a
come
show
out?
going on Thursday at 12 o'clock. So hopefully you guys
Podcast,
can
all the channels.
Okay, got it.
Social
Okay.
media.
Yeah.
I'll
Put
check
it
it
on
out.
TiE. Put it on TiE. Okay, got it.
Thank you very much. Incredible conversation. Ashish, Anil, Zina, Dhaval, Balaji, Pankaj, and Avi. Have a great day. We are off tomorrow. Remember, Neeraj's presentation tomorrow. Come back Thursday. Okay. And if you guys know any
All right,
singers,
guys.
please, we are looking for entertainers. Okay.
Oh, I have one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Send us their name. Friday, we are blank. Okay. Take care. Have a
All right.
wonderful evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.